My dear students, fellow seekers on the path of self-mastery,
Today we embark on a profound exploration of a pervasive and often unsettling reality in our modern lives, the consistent presence of what we term toxic energy, and more specifically, the individuals who embody and emanate this energy. Those we commonly label as toxic people. This phenomenon, as many of you intimately experience daily within your professional environments, your family homes, your wider social circles, and indeed sometimes even within the silent reflections of your own minds, is a constant source of struggle. However, the true understanding of this pervasive issue, and therefore its ultimate and enduring resolution, does not lie externally in the behavior or disposition of others. Rather, it resides deeply and fundamentally within the very core of each and every one of you. This intricate truth, often challenging to confront due to its deeply personal implications, is precisely the indispensable key to your profound and lasting liberation from external energetic intrusion. Allow me to articulate this principle with absolute clarity and unwavering precision. The fundamental problem you confront when the energy, the attitude, the specific behaviors, or even the mere physical presence of other individuals profoundly affects you. When you distinctly feel that your precious inner peace is violently disrupted, systematically drained, or even surreptitiously hijacked by external chaos, sharp criticism, or pervasive negativity is not simply the outward existence of that toxicity in your immediate environment. No, my friends, the deep, authentic, and underlying root cause of this persistent problem stems from an often overlooked yet critical fact that whether consciously or, more frequently and insidiously, unconsciously, you invariably grant them permission. This permission is the gateway. Permission for that invasive and discordant energy to penetrate your sacred and personal energetic space. Permission for it to systematically drain your vital life force. Your intrinsic courts, permission for it to aggressively alter your natural state of calm and serene equilibrium, permission for it to subtly undermine your confidence and fragile self-worth, and permission for it to dictate and even cruelly manipulate your precious emotional state, thereby robbing you of your inner agency. Consider yourselves, your innermost being, as a sacred and inviolable fortress. Visualize each one of you as an ancient, majestic castle, formidable in its construction, fortified with strong, resilient walls and endowed with majestic, imposing gates. Within the sacred, well-defined confines of this personal stronghold resides your unshakable peace, your pure, vital energy, your crystal-clear mental clarity, and your most authentic, uncorrupted essence. Toxic individuals and the corrosive energy they constantly emanate are akin to relentless invading forces, ceaselessly attempting to besiege and penetrate the defenses of your fortress. But how, precisely, do they manage to gain entry? Through what hidden passage, what subtle vulnerability, or what gaping breach in your meticulously constructed defenses? Let me assure you, they do not gain entry by sheer brute force, by overwhelming power, or by unyielding assault if you consistently maintain your gates securely closed, vigilantly protected, and meticulously guarded with conscious attention. Instead, they gain entry at some deep level of your being. That crucial gate is subtly left ajar, inadvertently opened, or even deliberately left wide open, through a distinct act of your own will, an act of permission that, as I have stated, can be both a deliberate, conscious choice, far more commonly and dangerously, a deeply embedded, unconscious pattern. This gateway, this point of entry, is your own internal permission. The fundamental nature of energy, an incessant and universal exchange. To truly comprehend why and how you often inadvertently grant this often damaging permission, we must first establish a clear and unwavering understanding of the fundamental nature of energy itself. Everything in the universe, from the smallest subatomic particle to the most expansive galaxy, is, at its core, pure energy, vibrating at different frequencies, amplitudes, and magnitudes. Your thoughts, those intangible formations that appear to float freely within the vast expanse of your mind, are potent energy. Your emotions, those powerful internal tides that stir and move you, are pure energy. Your words, the sounds you articulate that carry profound meaning and impact, are energy. Your actions, the physical movements you perform in the world, are all expressions of energy. And of course, human beings, each and every one of you, are intricate, vibrant energy fields, constantly interacting, exchanging, and subtly responding to the unique energetic vibrations of others. When you interact with any person regardless of the nature of the encounter, whether it's a fleeting, casual exchange in the bustling marketplace, or a deeply intimate, enduring relationship, an inevitable and continuous exchange of energy invariably occurs. This exchange is as fundamental and undeniable as the act of breathing itself. Just as the air you continually inhale and exhale is shared with your surrounding environment and with other living beings, the energetic field between you and others is also in constant dynamic communion. However, the intrinsic quality of this exchange, its delicate balance, its profound impact on your overall well-being, and its long-term sustainability depends significantly on two critical factors. Firstly, the inherent quality of your own energy, your intrinsic vibrational frequency, and secondly, and crucially, on the strength, the permeability, and the conscious awareness of your internal boundaries, those vital psychic and emotional limits that meticulously define and protect your personal energetic space. Individuals whom we categorize as toxic are typically those who, whether consciously or unconsciously, consistently operate from a low vibrational frequency. This inherent low vibration can manifest itself in a myriad of diverse behavioral and emotional forms, as explosive or chronic anger, deep-seated envy, corrosive resentment, a compulsive and desperate need for control over others, perpetual victimhood, incessant and debilitating complaining, subtle or flagrant manipulation, or consistently destructive criticism aimed at diminishing and disempowering others. It is absolutely vital that you understand that I am not in this profound discourse rendering a moral judgment on the ultimate source of their toxicity. Often these individuals are themselves suffering profoundly and silently within, valiantly grappling with their own deeply unresolved emotional wounds, their paralyzing fears, and their past traumas which they have yet to confront. Nevertheless, their unaddressed suffering, when projected outwards through these low vibrational behaviors, transforms into a corrosive and draining force that instinctively seeks to latch on, to feed upon, and ultimately to systematically drain the vital energy of those around them, creating a cascade of negativity. These individuals do not by necessity have to be consciously malicious or intentionally harmful in their underlying intent. Quite often they operate from a profound place of unconsciousness, merely repeating ingrained patterns learned in their developmental years or instinctively responding to chronic internal pain that they tragically lack the awareness, the tools, or the inner capacity to identify, process, or heal. Nevertheless, the tangible effect on you remains precisely the same. You feel utterly exhausted, mentally fatigued, emotionally frustrated, profoundly angry, overwhelmingly anxious, or simply experience a pervasive sense of heaviness, density, or profound depletion after the interaction, as if a dark, oppressive cloud has descended upon you, stealing your light. The silent permission unveiling its subtle mechanisms and hidden costs. Now, my friends, we arrive at the most crucial and often the most challenging part to truly recognize and confront. How precisely do we inadvertently grant this detrimental permission? It is not granted through a formal explicit declaration, a verbal agreement, or a conscious deliberate handshake. No, it is a silent permission, often so subtle, so deeply ingrained, and so woven into the fabric of your habitual responses that it remains almost imperceptible to the untrained eye. It is meticulously forged by deeply ingrained thought patterns, subconscious beliefs that operate beneath your conscious awareness, and automatic emotional responses that have been conditioned and reinforced throughout your entire lifetime. 1. The incessant quest for external validation. Many of you, influenced by your upbringing, prevailing societal norms, or inherent internal insecurities, have been conditioned to incessantly seek approval, recognition, acceptance, or validation from others to feel inherently worthy or complete. When you interact with a toxic individual, if your inner peace, your fragile self-esteem, or your fundamental sense of worth depends, even minimally, on that person's approval, or even worse, on meticulously avoiding their disapproval, their harsh criticism, or their cutting judgment, you are, in essence, consciously or unconsciously handing over an immense and dangerous power over your very being. You are surrendering your emotional equilibrium and your peace to those whose fluctuating opinions you desperately seek. If a seemingly trivial criticism or a dismissive comment deeply wounds you, it is not solely because of the word itself, but because your own inherent value, your very identity, has become unconsciously tethered to the often capricious opinion of another. In that precise moment, you have implicitly granted permission for that criticism, that judgment, or that dismissive energy to penetrate the formidable defenses of your fortress. You are unknowingly stating through your emotional reaction, through your seeking, or through your fear, my emotional state, my self-worth, my tranquility is now entirely in your hands, subject to your judgment and your passing whims. This, my friends, is a direct, open, and clear invitation to disempowerment and profound internal imbalance, laying your inner peace bare. 2. The insidious trap of emotional reactivity. Toxic individuals, in a significant number of cases, are unconscious masters in the subtle art of provocation. They feed, they thrive, and they gain immense energetic sustenance from the emotional reactions of others. Their low vibrational toxic energy instinctively seeks drama, conflict, escalating arguments, explosive anger, manipulative guilt, desperate defensiveness, profound sadness, and debilitating frustration. When you respond to their deliberate provocation with an uncontrolled explosion of anger, with deep-seated and persistent frustration, with overwhelming sadness, with an urgent and desperate need to justify your position, or with a belligerent and combative defensive attitude, you are inadvertently activating an energetic cord of connection with them. You are providing that individual with precisely what they crave, an emotional response that, from their distorted and often unconscious perspective, confirms their perceived power, their ability to destabilize you, and their capacity to steal your precious inner peace. Every single time your internal calm is shattered, every instance your center is lost due to their insidious influence, you have, in that moment, granted permission. The more intense and prolonged your reaction, the more copious the fuel you provide for their toxic fire, perpetuating the cycle. 3. The self-imposed need to fix or save. Some of you possess an inherently compassionate heart, a profound sense of empathy, and a natural ingrained tendency to genuinely want to help others, to alleviate their suffering. This is indeed a noble and beautiful quality, a testament to your spirit. However, when this virtuous tendency becomes distorted, when it spirals out of balance and transforms into a compulsive, overwhelming need to save or to fix a toxic individual, you inadvertently open yourselves wide to a constant, debilitating energy drain. Much like an unbandaged wound that bleeds profusely and incessantly, you believe, perhaps with a blind and unwavering faith, that you can fundamentally change the other person with the sheer force of your love, with the magnitude of your selfless effort, or with the depth of your empathetic understanding. But this belief, though born of good intention, often leads you to immerse yourselves completely and exhaustively in the other's internal chaos, allowing your own vital energy to be systematically consumed, depleted, and utterly exhausted in what almost invariably proves to be a futile and unsustainable endeavor. Permission is granted when you erroneously believe that your responsibility extends to changing another's predetermined fate or their deeply ingrained behavioral patterns, rather than focusing on the paramount imperative of meticulously protecting your own well-being and your sacred energetic field. 4. The paralyzing fear of conflict, rejection, or confrontation. The deep-seated fear of upsetting others, of disappointing their expectations, of not being accepted by them, of being rejected by a particular social group or individual, or of initiating an open, uncomfortable conflict, can often lead you to unconsciously silence your own inner voice, to ignore your vital internal limits, and to passively tolerate unacceptable behaviors that fundamentally violate your integrity and inner peace. When you fail to establish clear, firm, and consistently enforced boundaries, when you do not assertively, yet calmly, say no, when your inner knowing, your intuitive wisdom screams for you to do so, to protect yourselves, you are, in essence, leaving the gates of your fortress wide open. Permission is granted when you prioritize the illusory, short-term comfort of avoiding an immediate conflict over the long-term integrity, authenticity, and profound protection of your own peace and self-worth. This, my friends, is a subtle yet profound self-betrayal that, when repeated, accumulates a heavy toll on your spirit and energy. 5. Unconscious patterns and unresolved emotional wounds. This, my friends, represents the deepest, most complex, and often the most elusive layer of permission. In many instances, the permission for toxicity to enter and wreak havoc in your life is granted at a profoundly unconscious level, deeply rooted in unresolved emotional wounds from your past, perhaps even stemming from formative experiences in your childhood. Perhaps, as children, you learned that the only way to receive attention, validation, or affection was through emotional drama or by embodying a victim role, or that you had to consistently sacrifice your own needs and desires to be loved and accepted by caregivers, or that your voice, your innate needs, and your personal boundaries simply did not genuinely matter or hold any weight. These subconscious programs, often referred to in esoteric traditions as energetic cords or invisible contracts, subtly compel you to unconsciously repeat self-destructive patterns, drawing or allowing into your lives individuals who precisely activate those old, unhealed wounds, thereby perpetuating a familiar yet deeply painful cycle of toxicity and energetic drain. The external chaos you consistently experience is often nothing more than a direct, palpable reflection of unresolved energy that resides within your own intricate internal landscape. As long as these internal wounds remain unaddressed, unacknowledged, and unhealed, you will continue, unconsciously, to grant permission, inadvertently attracting situations and people that precisely confirm and reinforce those old, limiting and painful beliefs about yourselves and the world, trapping you in a cycle. The inner mirror, external chaos, as an internal reflection and opportunity for growth. The timeless wisdom of Shaolin, meticulously forged through millennia of rigorous introspection, disciplined practice, and keen observation of the intricate nature of the human condition, unequivocally teaches that the external world is, with astonishing precision, a profound and revealing mirror of our internal world. This is not a trivial metaphor to be dismissed lightly. It is a profound and liberating truth that can powerfully guide your journey towards self-mastery. If you repeatedly experience the same type of draining drama, if you find yourselves entangled again and again in the same kind of toxic interaction, if the same pervasive feeling of being depleted and exhausted by certain individuals consistently recurs in your life, it is a clear, undeniable, and urgent signal. It is a powerful opportunity and inescapable invitation to bravely look inward with unwavering honesty and ask yourselves, without a trace of judgment, self-blame, or harsh self-criticism, what unresolved energy, what unhealed wound, what limiting belief am I carrying within that is profoundly resonating with this external vibration, drawing it into my experience? What subconscious pattern am I currently operating from that creates this dynamic? In what specific ways, through my fears, my unmet needs, or my unhealed wounds, am I inadvertently granting permission for this to enter, manifest, and persist in my life? This inquiry is not about self-blame, about adding another burdensome layer of suffering with the cruel whip of self-condemnation. No, it is fundamentally about taking profound responsibility, but not for the toxic behavior of the other, for their choices and actions are unequivocally their own responsibility. Instead, it is about taking responsibility for the unconditional protection and sanctity of your own energetic space, your own inviolable peace. Responsibility, etymologically derived from responsibility, means the capacity to respond effectively and consciously, and your profound capacity to respond in a radically different, empowering manner. To definitively break this pervasive and draining cycle begins precisely with the deep comprehension, the honest acknowledgement, and the courageous acceptance of where and how you have been granting permission. By fundamentally understanding that the core problem does not lie exclusively in the mere existence of toxic individuals in the world, for my friends, they will always exist, to a greater or lesser degree in the vast and diverse tapestry of human existence, but rather in your own internal relationship with them, in your own habitual reaction patterns, in your own insatiable quest for external validation, or in your own paralyzing fear of confrontation or judgment, you begin truly and unequivocally to reclaim your inherent power. This is the pivotal moment of truth, the profound turning point where a perceived state of victimhood transforms into absolute empowerment, where unconscious reaction gives way to conscious choice. The genuine solution, therefore, is not found in desperately attempting to change the toxic individual, which is almost invariably a futile, exhausting, and often resentment-inducing endeavor. The solution also does not primarily lie in physically avoiding them altogether. which, while sometimes necessary and wise for your well-being, is often practically impossible in the intricate complexity of real life, especially if they are close family members, colleagues, or neighbors whom you cannot entirely remove from your sphere. The solution, my friends, is, and always has been, profoundly and powerfully internal. To cease being affected, to become truly untouchable and impervious to that corrosive energy, you must first and foremost cleanse yourselves from within. You must consciously, meticulously, and firmly seal those energetic and emotional gateways through which toxicity has been entering your sacred space without resistance. This is the first step, the most courageous and the most empowering on the illuminated path toward true energetic sovereignty. Recognizing the deep root of the problem within yourselves is an act of immense inner bravery, an act of radical self-honesty. It is the pivotal moment when you, consciously aware of your own innate power and agency, cease to be a passive victim of external circumstances and begin, instead, to become the conscious architect of your own internal reality, of your own unshakable peace, and of your own impregnable fortress of being. In our forthcoming teachings, we will meticulously explore how to undertake this profound internal cleansing, how to effectively seal those vulnerable energetic gateways, and how to consciously construct an inner fortress so impregnable that it radiates an energy so potent, so coherent, and so peaceful that external forces cannot even approach to disturb it. Instead, they will simply dissolve harmlessly or rebound powerlessly in its luminous presence. The inherent power to definitively halt toxic influence has always resided, perhaps dormant, within you. Now it is time for it to be fully recognized, consciously awakened, and diligently cultivated with unwavering commitment. My dear students, fellow travelers on the path of self-transcendence, in our previous discourse we thoroughly unraveled the fundamental truth that the root cause of toxic influence lies not merely in the external existence of low-vibrational individuals or energies, but rather in the permission that, either consciously or more frequently and insidiously, unconsciously, you inadvertently grant them to penetrate and disturb your inner sanctuary. Now, armed with this vital, liberating understanding, we can confidently advance towards the truly authentic and enduring solution, a resolution that is, by its very nature, profoundly and exclusively internal. There are no lasting external shortcuts, no superficial quick fixes, and no outward strategies that can permanently shield you if the inner core of your fortress remains vulnerable, porous, or unguarded. Allow me to articulate this with absolute clarity and conviction. To cease being affected by the insidious grip of toxic energy, to truly render yourselves impervious and invulnerable to its corrosive and draining effects, you must embark upon a profound journey of cleansing yourselves from within. This inner cleansing is not a mere superficial act of fleeting self-affirmation. It is rather a deep, transformative re-engineering of your entire internal landscape, a meticulous readjustment of your fundamental energetic patterns, and a comprehensive healing of the persistent emotional wounds that, until now, have served as gaping, unguarded doorways, inviting external negativity. The external chaos that you perceive, that rattles your composure and that so often profoundly perturbs your peace, is to a significant and often overlooked extent a direct energetic reflection of unresolved energy within your own internal being. If turbulent storms rage outside, and those storms violently shake your inner foundations, it is because echoes, perhaps even blueprints, of that very same storm are resonating, unaddressed within your own inner depths. Therefore, the genuine and lasting solution lies in diligently calming and mastering your own internal sea. The inner cleansing, awakening the sanctuary of the self. What does it truly mean then to cleanse yourselves from within? This is not an esoteric mystical concept reserved for cloistered ascetics or an unreachable ideal. It is rather a practical, accessible, and highly disciplined process rooted in profound self-awareness, conscious disidentification, and meticulous energetic rebalancing. 1. Recognize and release identification. The initial and crucial phase of this profound inner cleansing involves accurately recognizing and diligently identifying those internal wounds and unconscious patterns that compel you to continually grant permission for external toxicity to enter. This demands a level of introspection that is both unflinchingly honest and frequently deeply uncomfortable, for it forces you to confront aspects of yourselves you may have long avoided. Ask yourselves, where do I habitually seek external validation, and from whom? What deep-seated fears or anxieties drive me to avoid necessary conflict or confrontation? What old narratives or childhood programming convince me that I must endlessly save others, or passively endure what is fundamentally unacceptable and disrespectful? Once you bravely identify these deeply ingrained patterns, the true cleansing begins with the deliberate act of releasing your identification with them. You are not your wounds, you are not your fears, you are not your past conditioning. You are at your core, the conscious discerning observer who possesses the inherent power and the profound freedom to choose a new, empowering and self-honoring response. 2. Process and release stagnant emotions. Much of that unresolved energy I speak of consists of stagnant, unexpressed or suppressed emotions. Unvented anger, unshed tears of sadness, corrosive, unreleased resentment, paralyzing, repressed fear, or chronic unacknowledged guilt. These emotions, when not consciously processed, acknowledged and released, transform into dense energetic blockages within your being. These blockages act as magnetic anchors, attracting and resonating with external toxicity, creating a self-perpetuating cycle of energetic drain. The cleansing process thus inherently involves courageously allowing these suppressed emotions to surface into conscious awareness, to feel their raw intensity fully and completely without judgment or suppression, and then to release them in a constructive, healthy, and empowering manner. This release can manifest through diverse practices: deep, meditative introspection, conscious flowing movement disciplines such as Qigong or Shaolin Kung Fu, expressive writing in a journal, compassionate dialogue with a trusted, skilled therapist, or even the simple, cathartic act of allowing yourselves to cry freely or to vocalize your frustration in a safe, private space. By meticulously clearing these internal energetic blockages, the external toxic energy progressively loses its very point of attachment, its resonance, and its ability to latch onto your inner being. 3. Strengthen your energetic boundaries. Inner cleansing also profoundly involves the conscious and deliberate construction of robust, yet flexible, energetic boundaries around your personal space. This is achieved through unwavering intention, consistent visualization, and diligent practice. Vividly imagine a luminous, impenetrable shield of pure, radiant light surrounding your entire being, a shield that permits passage only to energies that are in absolute alignment with your highest peace, your deepest well-being, and your authentic self. Visualize how any energy of low vibration, be it anger, criticism, fear, or manipulation, simply dissolves, dissipates, or harmlessly rebounds upon contact with this radiant shield, utterly unable to penetrate your sacred space. This powerful visualization, when practiced daily with conviction and focus, is not a mere fantasy. It is a profound act of subconscious programming that meticulously reinforces your innate capacity to maintain your energetic field pure, intact, and inviolable. The inherent strength, resilience, and efficacy of this energetic shield emanate directly from your own unwavering conviction, your deep belief in your self-worth, and the cultivated power of your own inner peace. 4. Reclaim your energetic sovereignty. Fundamentally, inner cleansing is a powerful, transformative act of reclaiming your absolute energetic sovereignty. This means internalizing the profound truth that you, and you alone, are the ultimate owners, masters, and unwavering guardians of your own precious energy. No external force, no individual, no circumstance has the inherent right to claim or drain your energy without your explicit conscious consent. And conversely, you possess the inherent sovereign power to consciously withdraw that permission at any given moment. This is a fundamental, empowering principle that you must deeply internalize and embody. You are not helpless victims to external energies. You are powerful, sovereign beings endowed with the innate, intrinsic capacity to meticulously protect and meticulously manage your own energetic field. This realization is the cornerstone of true self-empowerment. The power of silence and calm, disarming toxicity with inner stillness. Once the profound process of inner cleansing has commenced, one of the most potent yet often profoundly underestimated tools at your disposal for protecting your energy and skillfully navigating external toxicity is the absolute power of silence and unwavering calm. Instead of instinctively reacting with explosive anger, with defensive posturing, with overwhelming frustration, or with a desperate, insecure need to justify your position, I urge you to respond with deliberate, unwavering calm. The reason for this strategic response is deceptively simple, yet profoundly effective. Toxic individuals feed voraciously on emotional reactions. Your unwavering calm unequivocally disarms them. Imagine a raging fire. The readily available fuel for that fire consists of your intense, volatile emotions, your anger, your fear, your frustration, your defensiveness. If you consciously withhold that fuel, if you deny the fire what it craves, then inevitably, the fire cannot sustain itself. It cannot burn. If instead of impulsively adding more kindling to their fire, your own reactive emotions, you respond with a steady, unyielding torrent of cool, clear water, your imperturbable calm, the fire will not only fail to grow, but will progressively diminish and ultimately extinguish itself. Silence, more than just the absence of auditory noise. The profound silence of which I speak is far more than merely the absence of verbal noise or the cessation of external sounds. It is fundamentally an internal silence, a deep, serene stillness of the mind and the heart that subsequently radiates and reflects outwards into your external demeanor. When a toxic individual attempts to provoke you, criticizes you harshly, manipulates you subtly, or seeks to violently drag you into their chaotic drama, your instinctive conditioned reaction is often to immediately defend yourselves, to counterattack, to passionately justify your stance, or to passively yield in an attempt to avoid further conflict. All these common responses, while seemingly natural, are ultimately forms of winding up the interaction, of unwittingly fueling and feeding the toxic energy, giving it precisely what it craves. But if, instead of instinctively engaging in that reactive dance, you respond with silence, a profound non-reactive silence, and with an emanating calm that originates from your deep, unmoving center, something truly extraordinary, almost alchemical occurs. Your silence becomes a powerful, unvarnished mirror. The toxic individual projects their negativity, their chaos, their pain, their desire for a reaction, but upon encountering your non-response, upon failing to find the expected reflection of their own chaos within you, they are compelled, at a deep subconscious level, to confront their own projected energy. Your silence is not a sign of weakness, of defeat, or of indifference. It is rather a profound and unequivocal declaration of your absolute inner sovereignty. It is the energetic equivalent of calmly and firmly stating, "This energy does not belong to me. I do not accept it, and I will not feed it." This intentional silence is profoundly powerful because it disorients and unbalances the provoker. Toxic individuals often operate with deeply ingrained, predictable psychological scripts. They have specific pre-programmed expectations about how you will react to their provocations. When you deliberately deviate from their script, when you deny them the expected emotional response, their internal script breaks. They are left without the anticipated fuel, without the familiar dynamic. This creates a powerful dissonance within them that often disorients them, frustrates their manipulative attempts, and frequently compels them to either retreat or to change their tactics altogether, as their strategy has failed. It maintains your center and cohesion. While the other person may be engulfed in their own internal or external chaos, your unwavering silence and cultivated calm enable you to remain profoundly connected to your own serene center. Your energy is not dispersed, fragmented, or squandered in the drama. Your mind remains clear, focused, and unclouded. Your inner peace remains largely unaffected, serving as an anchor in the storm. It is an unspoken declaration of clear limits. Without uttering a single word, your emanating calm and quiet presence establish a clear, firm, and often impenetrable energetic boundary. It communicates that your space is sacred and that it is non-negotiable. It is a highly effective, dignified way of saying no without having to engage in a futile battle of wills or a draining verbal argument. It can foster reflection in the other. In some rare but significant cases, a sustained, tranquil silence and an unshakable calm can, over time, subtly compel the toxic individual to pause and genuinely reflect upon their own behavior and its ineffectiveness. By consistently failing to obtain the habitual desired reaction from you, they might at a deeper level begin to question the efficacy of their own disruptive tactics, and perhaps even the underlying source of their own deep-seated pain and unconscious need for conflict. This is a possibility, though not the primary goal. Calm, the impenetrable fortress of your being. Calmness is not the absence of feelings or emotions. It is, rather, the cultivated capacity to fully feel and acknowledge your emotions, be it anger, frustration, sadness, or fear, without permitting them to hijack your actions, to cloud your judgment, or to dictate your overall state of being. It is the profound wisdom of recognizing the wave of emotion as it rises within you, without allowing yourselves to be violently swept away by its overwhelming current, maintaining your inner stability. How to cultivate calmness in moments of provocation. Practical applications. 1. The conscious pause. The sacred gap between the external stimulus, the toxic word or action, and your conditioned reaction. There always exists a minuscule, almost imperceptible microsecond. This is a sacred, invaluable space. Within that tiny gap resides your ultimate freedom. Diligently train your mind to consciously lengthen this pause. Instead of reacting automatically and impulsively, take 1 or 2 deep, slow, and intentional breaths. Drawing the air deep into your diaphragm, feel the sensation of the air entering and gently leaving your body. This conscious pause of merely a second or two possesses the profound power to completely change the trajectory and the outcome of the entire interaction, allowing for a deliberate, wise response. 2. Non-judgmental observation, internal witnessing. During that conscious pause, or even if the automatic reaction has already begun to manifest, diligently observe your own internal reaction. Notice precisely how the anger manifests in your body, perhaps a tightening in your chest or shoulders. Observe how frustration tenses your jaw or clenches your fists. Notice the thoughts that automatically arise in your mind. This is unacceptable. They don't respect me. I deserve better. Simply observe these internal phenomena. Do not judge your emotion, but crucially, do not identify with it either. Instead of thinking I am angry, gently reframe it to I am feeling anger. This vital process of de-identification grants you immense power and internal detachment. 3. Anchoring in the body. Grounding. When the mind becomes agitated, turbulent, or overwhelmed by external stimuli, your physical body can serve as an invaluable, reliable anchor to the present moment. Consciously feel the sensation of your feet firmly planted on the ground, the solid chair beneath you, the gentle sensation of your clothing against your skin. Connect deeply with these tangible physical sensations to bring your diffused consciousness back into the immediate present moment and out of the turbulent mental whirlwind of reactivity. 4. Deep, diaphragmatic breathing. Physiological reset. Consistently practicing slow, deep breathing originating from your diaphragm, where your abdomen visibly expands upon inhalation, activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the body's natural rest and digest system. This physiological response powerfully counteracts the fight or flight response triggered by the sympathetic nervous system, which is active during stress. Practice this deep conscious breathing regularly throughout your day, not just during moments of tension, and it will progressively become your natural automatic response to stress and provocation, calming your entire being. 5. Mental reframing. Perspective shift. Consciously and swiftly reframe the situation in your mind. Instead of perceiving the toxic individual as a personal attacker, an enemy, or someone intentionally trying to harm you, endeavor to view them through a lens of deeper compassion as a being who is themselves suffering, merely projecting their own unresolved pain, fear, or insecurity onto you. This compassionate reframe does not in any way excuse their detrimental behavior, but it profoundly allows you to emotionally distance yourselves from the interaction and avoid internalizing their negativity as something personal. Remember that their chaos is often a direct reflection of unresolved energy within their own internal landscape. 6. Visualization of the energetic shield. Reinforcing boundaries. Continuously reinforce the powerful visualization of your impenetrable energetic shield. Imagine that the negativity, the criticism, or the low vibrational energy emanating from the other person simply collides against this radiant, unwavering barrier of pure light and profound peace that surrounds you, utterly unable to penetrate or disturb your inner sanctum. This visualization, consistently applied, strengthens your energetic integrity. When you are able to consciously and consistently maintain a state of unwavering calm in the midst of provocation, the effect on the toxic individual is undeniably disarming. Toxic individuals, much like predators, instinctively seek out weakness, vulnerability, and an exploitable emotional response that they can leverage. When they encounter your unmoving, serene calm, they become disoriented. It is akin to violently striking a solid, unyielding wall that offers no resonance, no echo, no reciprocal force. Their projected energy dissipates harmlessly into the void, having found no purchase, no fuel, no point of engagement. This cultivated silence and profound calmness are not acts of passivity, weakness, or indifference. They are, in reality, acts of immense, active power. They are the manifestation of an internal mastery that very few individuals in the world possess. They are the tangible proof that you have begun to cleanse yourselves from within, that you are sealing those doors through which toxicity used to enter. This internal mastery not only protects you from toxic individuals, but also transforms your own experience of life. When you are no longer held hostage by emotional reactions, when you can maintain calm amidst any storm, your inner freedom expands exponentially. It's not that problems disappear, but your capacity to face them, to navigate them, and to learn from them becomes unshakable. The Shaolin wisdom teaches that true strength resides not in aggression or in victory over others, but in the complete mastery of oneself. The most important battle is the one waged within your own interior. When that battle is won, when your mind and your emotions are under your own control, then the external world, with all its toxicity and chaos, loses its power over you. You become untouchable, not because you isolate yourselves, but because your peace is an impregnable fortress that radiates a superior energy. This is the path towards true inner peace, a state where happiness does not depend on the absence of problems, but on your capacity to remain calm and silent in the midst of them. This is the next step towards sovereignty that allows you to not only protect yourselves, but also elevate the energy around you with your own radiant tranquility.
My dear students, fellow travelers on the path of self-transcendence,
having rigorously explored the profound internal solution to toxic influence, the diligent process of inner cleansing, and the powerful application of silence and calm, we now advance to an even deeper principle: the cultivation of detachment, the unwavering establishment of inner sovereignty, and the transformative act of changing your very energetic frequency. These are not mere mental exercises, but fundamental shifts in your being that render you truly impervious to external disturbances, allowing you to reside in a state of unshakable peace, regardless of the chaos that may swirl around you. Let us be unequivocal: true freedom is not found in the absence of problems, but in your profound detachment from them. This is a central tenet of Shaolin wisdom, a truth that liberates the spirit from the endless cycle of reactivity. Many individuals mistakenly believe that if they could only eliminate all external challenges, all difficult people, all sources of stress, then and only then would they experience peace. But life by its very nature is a continuous flow of challenges and changes. To seek peace by controlling the external world is a futile endeavor, akin to trying to hold water in your hands. It will always slip through. True peace, therefore, must be an internal state, cultivated independently of outer circumstances. Detachment, the liberation from clinging. What exactly is this detachment I speak of? It is not apathy, nor is it indifference. Detachment is not about ceasing to care or withdrawing from the world. On the contrary, it is about caring so deeply for your inner peace and your well-being that you refuse to allow external events, the words of others, or even your own fleeting thoughts and emotions to dictate your state of being. It is the ability to observe phenomena, thoughts, emotions, external situations, the behavior of toxic individuals, without clinging to them, without identifying with them, and without allowing them to define you. Think of yourselves as a tree firmly rooted in the earth. The winds may blow fiercely, the rain may fall heavily, but the tree, though its branches may sway, remains rooted. It does not resist the wind, it bends with it. It does not cling to the sunny days, nor does it despair in the storms. It simply is. This is the essence of detachment, remaining rooted in your essence, allowing the external currents to flow past without uprooting your inner calm. When you are attached, your emotional state is directly tied to the outcome of external events or the approval of others. If things go well, you are happy. If they go poorly, you suffer. If someone praises you, you feel good. If they criticize you, you feel diminished. This is a life of constant emotional roller coaster, dictated by external variables beyond your control. Detachment breaks this chain. It allows you to experience joy without clinging to it, knowing it will pass, and to experience sorrow without being consumed by it, knowing it too will pass. It means understanding that your inherent worth, your fundamental peace, is not dependent on anything external. The practice of detachment. 1. Observe without judgment. As we discussed, the foundation of detachment is the practice of observing your thoughts, emotions, and external events without immediate judgment or reactive engagement. See them as passing clouds in the sky of your consciousness. They are there, but they are not you, and you do not need to be carried away by them. 2. Release the need for control. Consciously acknowledge and release your ingrained need to control outcomes, other people's opinions, or external situations. Focus your energy only on what is within your sphere of influence, your actions, your own reactions, and your own internal state. 3. Practice non-clinging. When something pleasant happens, enjoy it fully, but practice non-clinging. Do not desperately try to hold on to the moment or to recreate it exactly. When something unpleasant happens, acknowledge the discomfort, but practice non-clinging to the suffering. Allow the emotion to move through you without dwelling on it. 4. Understand impermanence. Everything in life is impermanent. All situations, all emotions, all relationships, all possessions, they are all in a constant state of flux. By deeply internalizing this truth, you naturally develop a sense of detachment. There is nothing to hold on to, because everything is always changing. This understanding brings a profound sense of peace and acceptance. Inner sovereignty. Reclaiming your kingdom. Hand in hand with detachment comes the principle of inner sovereignty. This is the realization that you are the absolute ruler of your own internal kingdom. No one has the right to perturb your peace, your clarity, or your energy without your permission. This is not about being arrogant or dismissive of others, but about recognizing your inherent right and responsibility to protect your inner world. For too long, many of you have lived as if your internal state were a public square, open to all influences, subject to every passing comment or mood of another. You have given away your power, allowing others to act as puppet masters, pulling your emotional strings with their words, their criticisms, their dramas. Inner sovereignty is the unwavering declaration. My internal world is my sacred domain. I decide what enters and what does not. I decide how I will feel and how I will respond. This means no longer allowing the chaos of others to dictate your inner landscape. It means recognizing that their anger is their anger, their fear is their fear, their judgment is their judgment, and it has nothing to do with your inherent worth. You do not absorb it. You do not internalize it. You observe it, acknowledge its presence, and then consciously choose to let it pass by, untouched. Your peace is your sacred right, and it is non-negotiable. Changing your energetic frequency, becoming incapable. The most powerful implication of cultivating detachment and inner sovereignty is that you literally change your energetic frequency. This is not merely a metaphor, it is a profound energetic truth. Everything vibrates at a certain frequency. Low vibrations are associated with emotions like anger, fear, resentment, shame, and guilt. High vibrations are associated with emotions like peace, joy, love, gratitude, and compassion. When you consistently respond to toxic input with calm, silence, and detachment, you are choosing to operate from a higher frequency. You are refusing to descend to the lower vibration of the toxic individual. Toxic individuals instinctively sense when you have changed your frequency, when they have lost control over you, and when their usual tactics no longer work. They thrive on energetic resonance. If you vibrate at a low frequency, anger, fear, defensiveness, you resonate with them, and they can easily hook into your energy. But if you elevate your frequency to one of peace and calm, you become energetically misaligned with them. Imagine two musical instruments. If they are tuned to different keys, they will not resonate with each other, no matter how loudly one is played. Similarly, when you change your inner frequency to one of peace, the discordant energy of toxic individuals simply cannot resonate with you. It hits a different energetic key and cannot find a point of connection. It's as if you become energetically invisible or impervious to their attacks. They lose their ability to read you, to push your buttons, because those buttons are no longer connected to a reactive circuit. This is why, as I teach, by choosing peace, you change your energy and become untouchable. It's not a superficial tactic, it's an intrinsic transformation. When you genuinely embody peace, when your inner net is one of unshakable calm, this peace radiates outwards. It creates an energetic field around you that acts as a natural deterrent. The toxic person senses this lack of resonance, this lack of exploitable weakness, and instinctively retreats or moves on to seek fuel elsewhere. They realize their manipulative scripts have failed because you are no longer playing their game. The practicality of energetic shift. 1. Conscious choice of state. Every moment offers a choice. When confronted with toxicity, consciously choose your internal state. Will you descend into anger or frustration? Or will you choose peace, calm, and detachment? This choice, consistently made, recalibrates your energetic frequency. 2. Maintain your vibration. Engage in practices that consistently elevate your personal vibration. Meditation, mindful breathing, spending time in nature, practicing gratitude, engaging in acts of kindness, pursuing your purpose, and maintaining a healthy lifestyle. These practices build a strong, high vibrational foundation. 3. Observe without engaging. When a toxic person attempts to engage you, observe their behavior, their words, their energy, but do not engage your emotions with it. Do not allow their low vibration to pull you down. Maintain your internal calm and simply let their words or actions flow past you without sticking. 4. Respond. Don't react. As discussed in the previous section, the conscious pause allows you to respond from a place of clarity and peace, rather than reacting from a place of impulse or lower emotion. A response comes from your conscious choice. A reaction is automatic and often detrimental. This shift in frequency has profound implications beyond just dealing with toxic people. When you operate from a higher vibration, you naturally attract more positive experiences, more harmonious relationships, and more opportunities that align with your elevated state. You become a magnet for what serves your highest good, and a repellent for what does not. This process of detachment, inner sovereignty, and energetic frequency shift is not a quick trick or a superficial fix. It is a profound, spiritual practice. It demands consistent self-awareness, unwavering discipline, and a deep commitment to your own inner peace. It means constantly facing and releasing your own unresolved patterns and fears that previously allowed external influences to penetrate. When you fully embody these principles, you no longer need to build walls or fight battles with others. Your very presence, imbued with calm, detachment, and an elevated frequency, becomes your most potent shield. You become a living embodiment of peace, radiating a silent power that disarms negativity and allows you to move through the world with grace and unshakable serenity. This is the true meaning of becoming untouchable, not by being hardened, but by becoming utterly clear and pure in your essence, allowing no resonant point for toxicity to latch on. My dear students, fellow travelers on the path of self-transcendence, we have meticulously explored the fundamental understanding that external toxic influence takes root through internal permission, and we have delved into the profound power of cultivating inner calm and sacred silence as essential tools for energetic protection. Now, we must confront a deeper, more challenging, yet ultimately liberating aspect of this journey, the imperative to cut the cord of external validation, and to fully embrace the understanding that this entire transformation is at its very core a profound spiritual practice. This is not a superficial trick or a fleeting mental adjustment, but a fundamental shift in consciousness that demands courage, self-honesty, and persistent inner work. Cutting the cord of external validation, reclaiming your self-worth. One of the most insidious ways in which you inadvertently grant permission for toxic energy to infiltrate your sacred inner space is through the relentless and often unconscious pursuit of external validation. This is a deep-seated human tendency, often ingrained from childhood, where your sense of self-worth, your identity, and your emotional stability become intricately tied to the approval, recognition, or acceptance of others. When you crave external validation, you hand over your inner power, your emotional equilibrium, and your peace to those whose opinions you seek, making yourselves vulnerable to their judgments, their criticisms, and their emotional whims. I teach that you must stop seeking approval from those who harm you. This seemingly simple directive holds immense power. If someone's words or actions consistently diminish you, drain your energy, or undermine your confidence, yet you find yourself still craving their praise, fearing their disapproval, or desperately trying to win their affection, You are maintaining an energetic cord, a bond of dependence that allows them continued access to your inner landscape. This cord, though invisible, is a conduit through which their toxicity flows directly into your being. Consider this: when you seek validation, you are implicitly telling the world and yourselves that your worth is external, that it resides outside of you, in the hands of others. This makes you vulnerable to manipulation. A toxic individual, often operating from their own deep insecurities and a need for control, intuitively senses this craving for validation. They will strategically withhold approval, offer backhanded compliments, or employ subtle criticisms to keep you off balance, to keep you striving for their acceptance, and thereby to maintain their power over your emotional state. They thrive on your desperate need to be seen, acknowledged, or loved by them. The act of cutting this cord of validation is a radical act of self-love and self-sovereignty. It means recognizing that your inherent worth is intrinsic, self-existent, and non-negotiable. It does not depend on anyone else's opinion, praise, or acceptance. It means consciously deciding that their approval is no longer a currency you accept for your internal peace. The practice of severing the cord. 1. Identify the source of the craving. Begin by honestly identifying where you seek validation most desperately, particularly from individuals who tend to be toxic. Is it a parent, a boss, a romantic partner, or a secret social group? Recognize the specific patterns of behavior you exhibit when seeking their approval, e.g., over-explaining, people-pleasing, self-sacrificing. 2. Acknowledge the pain of disapproval. Consciously sit with the discomfort of their disapproval or criticism. Instead of immediately reacting or trying to fix it, observe the feelings of rejection or inadequacy that arise. Acknowledge them, breathe into them, and understand that these feelings are signals of an internal wound, not a reflection of your unworthiness. 3. Redefine your worth internally. Shift your focus from external validation to internal validation. Cultivate a robust inner sense of self-worth based on your values, your integrity, your efforts, and your own inherent being. This requires consistent self-reflection, mindfulness, and perhaps journaling to identify and appreciate your own strengths and accomplishments, independent of external affirmation. 4. Practice emotional non-attachment to outcomes. When you engage with a toxic individual, practice non-attachment to their reaction or their opinion. Seek your truth, set your boundaries, or take necessary action, but release any expectation or need for them to respond positively or to validate your actions. Your peace comes from your integrity, not their response. 5. Embrace your silence with clarity, not pain. I emphasize that your silence should not be filled with pain, but with clarity. When you stop seeking validation, your silence towards their provocations transforms from a silent plea for acceptance into a powerful statement of self-possession. If you remain silent but are internally churning with pain, resentment, or a desperate hope for their change, the cord is still active. But if your silence is born from a clear understanding of your boundaries, your self-worth, and your unwavering commitment to your own peace, then that silence becomes a true energetic severance. It's a silent, firm no that resonates with your complete self-acceptance. Cutting the cord is an ongoing practice. It's about retraining deep-seated patterns of emotional dependence. Each time you choose to prioritize your inner peace over external approval, you weaken the old cord and strengthen your own energetic sovereignty. Spiritual transformation, the deep work of consciousness. The entire process I am guiding you through, from understanding internal permission to cultivating calm and silence to embracing detachment and self-sovereignty, is not a mere behavioral adjustment or a set of psychological tricks. It is, fundamentally, a profound spiritual transformation. I emphasize that it is not a quick trick, but a shift of consciousness. This means that you are not just changing what you do, but who you are at a foundational level. A shift of consciousness implies moving from an unconscious, reactive, and externally dependent state of being to a conscious, proactive, and internally grounded one. It's a journey from living in the sleep of automatic patterns and societal conditioning to awakening to your true, powerful self. This transformation requires dedicated, consistent inner work, which often means facing internal wounds and releasing the need to be accepted by those who cannot respect themselves. The core of spiritual transformation, healing the inner wounds. The deepest roots of your vulnerability to toxic energy lie in your own unhealed internal wounds. These are often remnants of past hurts, traumas, rejections, or feelings of inadequacy that have been suppressed or unaddressed. They create energetic holes or vacuums within you that unconsciously seek to be filled by external sources, whether it's validation, love, or even conflict that feels familiar. Toxic individuals with their own unresolved issues often trigger these wounds, perpetuating a painful cycle. Facing internal wounds, this requires immense courage. It means turning inward and acknowledging the pain, the fear, the shame, or the grief that you may have buried deep within. It's about allowing those emotions to surface, processing them without judgment, and understanding their origin. This process can be uncomfortable, even painful, but it is absolutely necessary for true healing. It's like a physician cleaning a wound. The process may sting, but it's essential for preventing infection and promoting lasting health. Mindful awareness. Use your practice of observation to bring awareness to these inner wounds. When a toxic interaction triggers an intense emotional response, instead of focusing solely on the external trigger, turn your attention inward. Ask, what in me is hurt? What old memory or belief is this activating? Self-compassion. Approach your wounds with immense compassion, not self-criticism. Remember, these wounds were formed often when you were vulnerable and defenseless. Treat your inner child with the kindness and understanding it needs. Release and forgiveness. Healing involves releasing the grip of past pain, and often forgiveness not necessarily for the other person, but for yourselves, for holding on to the burden. This releases the energetic charge associated with the wound, releasing the need for acceptance from the unworthy. The phrase "releasing the need to be accepted by those who cannot respect themselves" is profoundly insightful. Individuals who exhibit toxic behaviors often operate from a place of deep self-disrespect, self-loathing, or unresolved internal conflict. They project their inner turmoil outwards because they lack the capacity for self-acceptance, self-love, or self-respect. When you seek acceptance from such individuals, you are essentially asking someone who is internally fractured to validate your wholeness. It is an impossible task, akin to asking a thirsty person to fill your cup when their own well is dry. Not only can they not give you what you seek, but in their own emptiness, they may even try to drain what little you have. This spiritual transformation involves recognizing that their behavior is a reflection of them, not you. Their toxicity is a manifestation of their internal state, their unresolved issues, their lack of self-respect. It has nothing to do with your inherent value or worth. True acceptance comes from within. Your deepest acceptance must come from yourselves. When you fully accept who you are, flaws and all, the need for external validation diminishes significantly. You cannot heal others by sacrificing yourselves. Your compassion can extend to understanding their suffering, but it should not lead to self-sacrifice or allowing them to continue harming you. Your primary responsibility is your own well-being. Not everyone is meant to be in your inner circle. As part of this spiritual growth, you learn to discern, not every soul is compatible with your highest vibration. It is an act of spiritual maturity to create energetic boundaries, and if necessary, physical distance from those who consistently bring you down. The ongoing journey of consciousness shift. This spiritual transformation is not a one-time event or a sudden enlightenment. It is an ongoing journey of consistent self-awareness, diligent practice, and courageous inner work. It is a continuous process of shedding old patterns, healing old wounds, and consciously choosing to operate from a higher level of consciousness. Daily practice. Just as a martial artist trains daily to refine their physical skills, a spiritual practitioner engages in daily practices to refine their consciousness. This includes meditation, mindful breathing, journaling, self-reflection, and consciously applying the principles of detachment and inner sovereignty in your interactions. Patience and persistence. There will be setbacks. There will be days when old patterns resurface, when emotions are triggered, and when you feel yourself slipping back into old habits. This is normal. The key is not to judge yourselves harshly, but to acknowledge the slip, learn from it, and gently, persistently return to your practice. Embrace discomfort as growth. The process of facing internal wounds and releasing deep-seated needs will inevitably bring discomfort. Embrace this discomfort as a sign of growth. It is the necessary friction that precedes expansion. Celebrate small shifts, acknowledge and celebrate every small victory, every time you choose peace over reaction, every time you set a boundary, every time you prioritize your inner well-being over external approval. These small shifts compound over time, leading to profound transformations. This profound transformation involves releasing the heavy baggage of the past, dissolving the illusions of external control, and embracing your inherent power. It is about understanding that your peace is not a fragile state easily broken by others, but an unshakable inner fortress built upon the solid ground of self-awareness, discipline, and sovereignty. When you undertake this spiritual work, you not only protect yourselves from toxic energy, but you also become a beacon of calm strength and unwavering peace in a turbulent world. This is the ultimate freedom, the freedom to be yourselves, untouched by external discord, rooted in your own divine essence.
My dear students, fellow travelers on the path of self-transcendence,
we have journeyed deeply exploring the insidious nature of toxic influence, pinpointing its root in our own internal permission, and beginning the profound work of cultivating calm, sacred silence, and the liberating power of detachment and inner sovereignty. Now, as we approach the culmination of these transformative teachings, I want to illuminate the ultimate manifestation of this inner work, the cultivation of sacred presence and the realization of an invincible shield of self-mastery. This is where all the previous principles converge, creating a state of being so formidable, so integrated, that external negativity simply cannot penetrate, but rather dissolves or rebounds harmlessly. Your very presence is your power. This is not a poetic flourish, it is a fundamental energetic truth. When you are fully present, fully anchored in the here and now, radiating an aura of calm and self-possession, you become a formidable energetic force. A toxic individual, accustomed to operating on a frequency of chaos and reactivity, seeks a resonant point within you. If you are not present, if your energy is scattered, if your mind is wandering in past regrets or future anxieties, you become porous, offering numerous entry points for their low vibrational energy. But when you are fully present, centered, and whole, there are no energetic cracks for them to exploit. Your unified presence itself transforms into a complete, impenetrable, and dynamically coherent energetic field. The radiance of sacred presence, your ultimate living shield. Sacred presence is the profound and meticulously cultivated state where your mind, your body, and your spirit are precisely aligned, perfectly synchronized, and utterly immersed in the unfolding moment. It is a state where your entire being emanates an undeniable and profound sense of groundedness, an unshakable inner peace, and an effortless equanimity. This elevated state is the natural organic outcome of consistent and disciplined practice in mindfulness, deep self-awareness, and precise emotional regulation. When you are genuinely present, your attention is no longer fragmented, dispersed, or scattered haphazardly. Instead, it becomes fully concentrated, a laser beam of conscious awareness, directed with clear intention. Your vital energy is no longer leaking away into extraneous distractions, emotional reactivity, or external demands. It is contained, conserved, and powerfully focused, forming a resilient and coherent energetic container around your entire being. Consider this concept through the vivid, serene metaphor of a clear, unruffled lake. When the lake's surface is perfectly calm, mirror-like in its stillness, it reflects the vast sky above with pristine clarity and unwavering precision. When an external force, perhaps a small stone playfully thrown by a child, attempts to disturb its surface, the immediate impact is absorbed gracefully, and the resulting ripples, though momentarily present, inevitably spread outwards in concentric circles and then gradually settle back into the lake's inherent stillness, leaving its core undisturbed. However, if the lake is already turbulent, perpetually agitated by strong erratic winds or underlying internal currents, even the smallest external disturbance creates an escalating wave of greater chaos and prolonged unrest, making its surface a maelstrom. Your cultivated inner stillness, meticulously born from consistent and profound presence, renders you akin to that serene, calm lake. External disturbances, no matter how intense, how provocative, or how sustained, may indeed create momentary ripples upon your surface, touching the periphery of your awareness, but your inherent cultivated stillness and profound inner peace quickly, effortlessly, and reliably reassert themselves, bringing you back to your harmonious center and restoring your equilibrium. This sacred presence, This profound state of integrated being serves as your ultimate living shield because it operates on an energetic and vibrational level that fundamentally transcends the limitations of mere verbal arguments, intellectual justifications, logical debates, or even direct physical confrontation. Toxic individuals, by their very nature, habitually operate on a consistently low frequency, fueled by fear, anger, manipulation, a pervasive sense of lack, and a compulsive need for control. When they encounter your cultivated presence, which consistently vibrates at a distinctly higher frequency of peace, profound calm, and unshakable self-possession, their discordant low vibrational energy simply cannot find a point of resonance with yours. It is akin to attempting to connect two powerful magnets with the same poles intentionally facing each other. They naturally and effortlessly repel each other, pushing away rather than attracting. Your higher, purer, and more coherent vibration effectively repels their lower, denser, and chaotic one, creating an energetic impermeability that shields you from their influence. This profound energetic phenomenon means that your radiating presence effectively creates a subtle but potent field of non-resonance around you.